Right, thank you for staying with us. And as I said earlier, that we will be looking into the controversies that have been trailing the Court of Appeal judgments given on Friday, eventually by Lord Justice Obiora. And it has to do with a case of relisting, that was called for by the APC Osun APC actually in the matter. It's actually about the debacle of the local government administration in Osun State, which is he has left more persons confused than before, especially the average, Osun residents and indigents as we currently have right now. So on Friday, Milord Justice Obiora, with the appeal court dismissing the APC's bid to revive sacked Osun Local Government chairman's case, and they struck it out at the request. That was the request of the APC to release his appeal against the 2022 Federal High Court judgment that nullified Osun local government elections out in Osun State, and in a unanimous decision delivered virtually on Friday and read by Justice Peter Obiora, the court declared that the appeal lacked merit, emphasizing that APC's failure to act promptly on his legal rights amounted to a self-inflicted injury. And let me quote, my lord, he says, it is a case of voluntary non-fit injuria. They cannot complain of harm they brought upon themselves. Equity aids the vigilant, not the indolent. And the panel questioned why only one of the three appellants was seeking to release the appeal through a joint notice, noting that even if these were permissible, no credible reason was presented for the delay in transmitting court records. I quote Justice Obiora again, if the APC was truly sincere, considering the number of candidates affected, why did they abandon the case for 2 years? That was a question posed by the court. I allow you to take a look at, just a part of that court ruling that was done virtually.
And the judgment of the Federal High Court in suit number OSCS 94-2022, which nullified the said election. The first appellant in the aforesaid appeal is the same third applicant in the instant application under consideration. I draw attention to this fact in order to show that the third applicant who was pursuing the sister appeal based on the same facts and similar judgment of the same Judas, Ayo Emmanuel J, cannot claim ignorance for not compiling the record of appeal or have any credible reason for abandoning the pursuit of this appeal that was dismissed on 13th day of January 2025. The sudden attempt to resurrect this appeal after the decision of this court in the sister appeal may only lead to confusion, and this court will resist such attempt to lure it to unwittingly sit on appeal or review its decision in appeal number CAAK 270-2022. Everything in this application shows that the third appellant has not shown good cause why this application should be granted. The fate that has befallen them is self-inflicted. It is therefore my conclusion that this appeal lacks merit. It is accordingly dismissed.
All right, thank you for for staying with us. That is Justice Obiora. Now, the aftermath of that delivery has, rendered and put many persons in the state in a conundrum because both parties involved in this matter, by the way, is the Osun APC and the Osun PDP, and by extension, the APP as well. But the two main parties in the case, the Osun PDP, People's Democratic Party, and the Osun All Progressives Congress, have been laying claim. The Osun PDP are saying, they're interpreting it to be that that's the final nail in the coffin. In fact, that's the position of the state government, whose leadership of the PDP, they are saying, that settles it. You guys, you are gone. And you remember the February 10 ruling that was given by the appeal court in Akure, that judgment again has been based on interpretation. In fact, the APC men have been at the local councils. The PDP said there was vacancy, so the state government, put up an election into the local government councils, and it was done February 22, and it produced winners, all of them on the platform of the PDP. They'll be sworn in immediately But the governor, Ademola Adeleke, told them, please stay away for troubles. And they are saying now these are shown that they are in charge as a PDP. But the APC are saying this judgment has nothing on the February 10 Court of Appeal judgment in Akure. Now, who do we believe in this case? Now, we have the man who superintended, that local government election that was done on February 22 in Osun State here that returned all the winners, and all of them are of the PDP here. He's a lawyer, Barrister Hashim Abioye, the chairman of the Osun State Independent Electoral Commission, is with us in the studio. Good to see you.
My very pleasure, baby.
Good morning.
Good brother. Good morning.
It's been a while.
Honestly speaking, a long while.
In fact, many persons are saying Barrister Hashim has been missing in action. Where is he in all of this?
Well, I've been around, and I listened to some people saying that maybe I was hiding somewhere, and I tell them that look, even myself and your people are meeting at international airport terminals, both within Nigeria and outside Nigeria. So
you are not hiding
at all.
Obviously, you are here now.
Honestly, I'm here. So I've not been. I'm not hiding because I've not done anything to go into hiding at all.
Right.
So
here we are. My Lord, through the appeal courts, delivered that judgment. My Lord, through Justice Obiora, gave the position a unanimous one to say the case of relisting of the APC has been dismissed. And many persons are saying, so what does that mean? Does it have any bearing? You are a lawyer here. Does it have bearing on the election you held that you superintended on February 22? Do you think it has any bearing on the February 10 Court of Appeal judgment that was given in Akure? Enlighten us.
Well, thank you very much. The whole of the appeal court decision, both that of 10th of February 2025 and that of 13th January 2025, centered and had to do with the local government election conducted by OSEC in 2022.
Right.
I was not at the EMS then. In fact, I was not at all an appointee of the government, as at the time those decisions came. And the issue had to do with the conduct of the election. And it centered on the notice of election given by OSEC then. And let me tell you this, for a fact, that I was the one who prosecuted these two cases as a lawyer. For PDP and for APP as a lawyer. PDP's case came before the notice of election was published, and the APP's case came after the notice of election had been published. It's like a matter of someone who has wronged two persons differently. You did a wrong to Taye, you did a wrong to Kende. Both of them sued you separately. The court found you guilty in the two cases. You you filed an appeal against the two cases, against Taye and against Kende, because you lost at the trial court. Now the one the appeal you filed against Taye's case was set aside on account of Taye's case being premature. So if a case was struck out for being premature, that means the court had no jurisdiction to entertain it in the first place. Nobody benefits anything from such a case. That means Taye had no benefit, and the victim, the convict, the conviction goes. That means he suffered nothing from the election, from the act. The effect of the PDP's case was that neither the PDP nor the APC benefited anything from the election. That it was as good as the case not having been filed at all. That is the essence of the election, the judgment of the appeal court. Yes, of the Court of Appeal of 10th February 2025, which struck out, look at the word struck out, which struck out the case filed by the PDP at the trial court. Striking it out meant that it was never filed at all. It was null and void. That means it had no bearing with the election at all. It's as good as having not been filed at all. Now that of the APP, it was after the notice of election had been published that the election, that APP went to court to challenge the notice of election that you gave a notice of election for 60 days. When OSEC law itself, not even the Electoral Act this time around, the Electoral Act prescribes a 360-day notice. Not even only the Electoral, the OSEC law itself prescribes a notice of 360 days for the election, and you gave a notice of 60 days, and the election was nullified. You filed a notice of appeal, joint notice of appeal. 3 political parties. You know, the decision was against OSEC, and I told you I was the one who prosecuted the case. But at the time, I was never an appointee. I never contemplated coming to OSEC at all. So OSEC saw it because OSEC had suffered similar fates in 2010 in OSEC versus Action Congress, when the election conducted by this same OSEC was nullified by the Supreme Court on account of inadequacy of notice. In fact, that of 2010 was even better, because the OSEC law then prescribed 21 days notice as against 150 days notice prescribed by the Electoral Act then. And the Supreme Court still nullified the election. But the election conducted by OSEC in 2022 was against the OSEC law itself and the Electoral Act. See, that's wahala. Now the election was nullified. OSEC, having sat down by itself, within itself, I was not there then, and decided not to appeal the 2 decisions. Oh, we did wrong. We accepted our fate. OSEC did not appeal. But the so-called beneficiaries of the said election, which was nullified, appealed. That was the APC. And another political party appealed too. You know, there was a denier when the judgment of 13 January 2025 came, when the Court of Appeal dismissed the appeal. That was the appeal that was abandoned. It was an appeal filed jointly by the APC, one other political parties, I think, one other political party, and I think APM, and one other person, Babari, did something. It was a joint appeal filed for them by one council. They failed to prosecute that appeal. They did not compile record. They did not file brief of argument. And OSEC filed an application at the Court of Appeal on 13 January. Court dismissed this appeal for want of diligent prosecution. The application was not contested. The Court of Appeal dismissed that appeal. The dismissal of an appeal has the effect of validating the judgment appealed against. That means the judgment of the Federal High Court is still validly subsisting. Now someone is now telling us that the judgment of 10th February 2025 that struck out the PDP's case for want of jurisdiction or whatever had an effect on the other judgment. So you are saying that you can use the relief in the judgment to counter or to measure up with the relief in another judgment that have different parties, different political parties. I think you are getting my point now. So it's like saying that you have been beaten by a snake in the 2 legs. You treated one and you left the other one. That person will still die.
All right.
And that is what we are witnessing today.
Barrister Hashim, now the legal tussle here, a lot of lawyers, quite a number of lawyers, will disagree with you when it comes to the interpretation.
Yes.
Before we go into the legal matters, you said you were not in office when some of those cases were prosecuted.
Okay? I was against OSEC. In fact, I was the counsel for those 2 political parties as a lawyer.
Then later you became OSEC chairman, right? And you were the one in office when the local government election was conducted.
In 2025. In 2025. The recent one.
The recent one. Yes. Very good. So here's my question to you. After the elections, we've had a lot of conversations, arguments about the legality and the legitimacy of those who claimed they won the election. And all fingers have been pointing to you, Barrister Hashim. I remember asking the Algon chairman right here, it was right here in this studio, sitting right there where he was sitting. I asked him that you claim to be democratically elected officials, local government chairman. So far, even the media, even as a journalist, I did not see any result of the election. Thank God you're sitting right here, Barrister Hashim. You conducted an election. No results were released. Let me land. I'll let you respond to that.
Okay.
No results were released. No visible results. I know you're going to say something, but I did not see. And of course, my colleague who was in the studio that day, we did not see any results. And some individuals were declared winners of that election, and they became chairman. They called themselves chairman. Now, APC, they were also here in the studio, they had their representatives here. They have argued that that election was illegal, that no results were declared, that you just, arbitrarily just named them winners without even showing results. So both the APC and the PDP are saying we should ask, they are pointing fingers at you, that you are the one to answer the question.
Can I respond now?
Okay, please.
Thank you very much. Well, you are missing the point. And the point you are missing is that you have not approached the Osun State Independent Electoral Commission for a certified true copy of the results. It is not my duty to say this is the result of the election and I'll be carrying the result of the election to media stations, to broadcast houses.
But it should be public. It's an election. It's a public election.
Let me tell you. You have not allowed me to answer this.
Go ahead.
Okay, please.
You have not allowed me to answer this.
You have the floor now.
Thank you very much. It is not my duty. I say it again. My duty as the Chief Electoral Commissioner is to get feedback from the fields, from the returning officers. The returning officers declared the results. They signed the result under their hands. And from what was presented to me, I announced that these were the winners of the election. And I made a broadcast on the day of the announcement of the winners of the election that anyone who is interested in the result of the election, come to OSEC. Certified true copies are available. The election petition, there were election petitions filed against the election. Election petition proceedings are ongoing as I'm talking to you now. And result of the elections in the areas being challenged are before the election petition tribunal. I think you are getting my point.
Did the officers declare the result, like you said? Did they declare the result?
Yes, they did. But because, now the returning officers would declare the result. I am not to declare result. I am to announce the winners as declared by the returning. Yes, they did. They did. And you know how it all went. Because of the security situation, the whole of the security architecture in the country were against us because of the ill advice of the Attorney General of the Federation. So this thing, those people who orchestrated all this wahala, were those now pointing accusing fingers against us that, look, you did this, you did that. You pulled out of the election. You don't have any locals to ask how the election went. After you had pulled out of the election, you wrote to us that you will be pulling out, you will not be participating in the election. So why asking about the result of the election again? And I've said it. The day I announced the winner of the election, having been declared winners by the returning officers across the local government, I said certified true, go and look at the broadcast again. I said certified true copies of the result are available. As I'm talking to you, if you want certified true copies, don't let me leave the studio. Go to OSEC, say I want certified true copies of this result. They will be made available to you. That is my job. My job is to announce the winners as presented to me by our returning officers. We appointed electoral officers, we appointed returning officers, we appointed categories of ad hoc staff. So about the result of the election or whatever, we had no issue. Anyone who has issue with the result of the election should come to OSEC. The Osun State Independent Electoral Commission will have the result there. And proceedings are ongoing now at the Local Government Election Tribunal. Anyone who has an interest can visit the Local Government Election Tribunal, whether truly there are results or there are no results. So about result of the election or whatever. So you want me to be saying, okay, this election, I am not the one to announce the result of the election local government by local government. And you know the security situation did not permit us
you said,
for that.
Yes.
And the election, as peaceful as it was, some people wanted, I'm coming, some people wanted to thwart the process. They wanted to kill the process. And you knew what they did. They charged all the security agencies against us to the extent of arresting our staff, to the extent of putting, to the extent of confiscating election materials. If not for our proactiveness that we deployed additional logistics, the election would have suffered and would not have heard at all.
But the election, to clarify something. Yes. I really want you to clarify something here. Okay. Let us get this clear. You said because of the security situation, that the results could not be declared.
No. I didn't say that. I said because of the security situation, that was why it was not broadcast local government by local government.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to get clear.
Broadcast local government broadcast.
My point. Yes.
Not exactly. I'm not saying it was not announced. It was not broadcast local government. So what's the difference? What's the difference between announcing and broadcast? It was announced in each local government. It was announced in each local government by the returning officer.
Do we have the record?
Yes, I have the record with me. It was announced
of the announcement.
Yes, and the returning officers that announced the result signed the result sheet by themselves. And after doing that, I was not on the field.
Okay.
It was our returning officers who were on the field. I think you are getting my point now. They were on the field, and from the results they sent to us, I announced the winner. If you listen to the broadcast again, I said from the available results from the fields, these people, so person. You know, that day, because of the time schedule, I only said for the councilorships across all the wards, the PDP candidate, because having looked at all the results, the PDP candidate won. And for the local government, the PDP candidate also won. Because the number was not that long as that of the councillorship, so I announced those of the chairmanship. I think you are getting my point.
Did you announce the figures by which they won?
No. The figures were to be announced by the returning officer, which had been done. That's what I'm telling you. I did not say the results were not announced. I said the results were not broadcast, not that they were not announced. So I chose my words. I knew what I said. So if you want the result of the election as I'm talking to you, you can come to Ose for a certified true copy.
Barrister, who were those there when the results were announced? You're saying the results were announced but not broadcast.
Political parties had their agents. Political parties had their agents. Party people were there. Some of the candidates were there. Those who pulled out of the election, who said we were not participating and they did not participate at the election, were now those questioning who were at the center. Those who participated at the election were there. That is it. Those who participated at the election were there, and you saw clips. They were shown all over. You saw clips, you saw everything. In fact, I was overwhelmed when I saw how the election was broadcast, how the activities went on the day of the election. All of us saw these things now.
All right, Barrister. The thing is,
but the question, the issue, I think we are digressing.
No, we come back to that. Okay? We are here for
because
that.
The reason for our coming here is to look at the legality or otherwise of the election.
Perfectly.
But now you have
I just wanted to use the opportunity. Yeah. Because fingers have been pointing at you, so I had to clarify.
And we have clarified that results are available.
Now, you know the reason why we are had to bring this back is because this is the first time we are having you after the election.
Thank you very much. So you have not invited me.
Yeah, I have. Personally, I have.
But I didn't see. Maybe I didn't see it.
Okay, now that you are here, this is the first time.
Thank you very much.
And that's why, and because people have been asking, why will have a result that figures were not returned?
Figures are there.
But if we may, before we come back to this issue, you are here with us. We don't need to go to your secretariat. You are the chairman. So can you let us into that result? Because I've checked your website.
Yes.
Nothing. In fact, your website is even down.
Yes.
Right now.
Yes. That was after the election.
So why is it down?
Yes.
It was only for the purpose of election.
And it's for a reason.
Why?
Thank you very much. You knew
because
that
our state.
Let me tell you. You knew that You knew that our office was under seal. 48 hours to the election. We conducted an election.
Your website was up even with those challenges.
Thank you very much. But you knew that there are certain things that we could only do administratively unless we get to office. I think you are getting my point. There are certain things, certain infrastructures are within the office premises.
Okay.
So, but we will not allow such challenge posed to us at the election, during the election. So, particularly 72 hours to the election.
When you are under pressure,
yes,
you could put up a website
Yes.
How come?
No. We didn't put.
No, I mean the website was running.
Yes.
It was active.
Yes.
How come the pressure has gone down and your website is inactive? No.
Let me tell you this.
The Oyo State Electoral Independent Electoral Commission.
Femi,
I just checked
listen to me. Femi, listen to me. This is not Oyo State.
Yeah.
Oyo State did not conduct an election where the IGP moved down its entire headquarters.
Why did you deactivate the website? That's the question.
Hello?
Why did you deactivate it?
Our the website is not deactivated.
It's
what
down.
I'm saying is that let me tell you this.
Yeah.
You knew after the election, our office was sealed up.
Yeah.
Our secretariat was sealed up. We did not have access to the office.
All right.
Except for the fact that if we had not deployed election materials far ahead of the day of the election, we wouldn't have been saying what we are saying today. You should pity me, Femi, and you should commend me for saving democracy from the hands of marauders. If we could conduct and tell me any state electoral body that has conducted an election under the atmosphere that I conducted that election, the whole security architecture was against us. They sealed up our office unknowingly, unprepared, if not for the proactiveness that we deployed election materials. Since we had deployed election materials, including the result sheet, to all the local government areas.
Are you back in office now?
Yes, we are back in office.
The office has been reopened?
Yes, the office,
right.
the
so
office has been reopened. So we have reopened our office. Okay. We are back in office. Let's come and all the results now will be uploaded to the website. I tell you, you know the election, I'm coming. You know the election was not electronic. Even INEC has not been conducting our election electronically. So the election was not electronic, it was manual. And we took all the records manually. If you want anything,
just before we go ahead,
this your seat. This your seat is not
comfortable.
It's not good enough.
We'll fix that in a while. Please,
really is, but I will manage this.
Bear with us.
Hold on, Daniel. I understand we must go on a quick break right now. We'll be back. Please stay with us.
Illegal bushmeat is not cool.
Thank you for staying with us. We're still talking about the ruling, the court ruling, the recent court ruling regarding the elections in Osun State, the local government election. It also has been going back and forth, and we have right here in the studio with us Barrister Hashim Abioye, who's also the OCEC chairman. Barrister, just before we went on that break, I was about to ask you a question. You said that the results, before we move into the legal matters now, you said that the results of that election will be uploaded onto your website. My question is, you are here, and I want a decisive answer. When? You are the chairman, so you should know when. When should we expect to see the results of that election?
Anytime soon, but they are available. The manual results are available.
I know. Well, you said we can get it. Definitely, we'll apply to second.
If you want certified to copies, if you want copies or whatever, it will be made available.
We'll do that. We'll do that today.
Yeah, but for the sake, for the sake of the public or whatever, it will be uploaded to the website. I tell you anytime soon.
Anytime soon is no time, Barrister.
No. Just trust me. For the very first time in the history of OSEC, a website was put up. For the very first time in the history of OSEC, we employed some ICT facilities in the process of the election.
All right, noted.
For the very first time. So if we had done that, you should trust us that we will do as I've said.
We only want the time frame so that it will be definite. And
I tell you, in a matter of a little time, it will be uploaded to the website.
Now, back to this legal conundrum that we are currently in right now. The January 13 ruling, the February 10 ruling, the February 22 election that was superintended by you, and then the one that was given June 13 last Friday. As it is right now, who has the legitimate mandate to be at the council in Osun State?
Well, I need to tell you this.
Yes, please.
That without beating about the bush, the election we conducted was on a firm and solid legal ground.
Let's have it.
Because there were vacancies at the local council offices.
That's the grounds of the APC. They say.
Yes, I'm coming, Femi. Right, you asked me a question.
Yes, please.
As at the time we conducted the election. As at the time we started the process of the election, throughout the period of the election, there were vacancies. And if we are saying there is no vacancy today, it's because we already have elected chairmen who have been sworn in by the governor. We gave notice of election, the election that we conducted in 2025. We gave the notice on February 19, 2024. As at that time, there were 2 judgments hanging on the neck of OSEC, which nullified the election conducted by OSEC in 2022. I think you got me right. So that means as at the time we gave notice of the election, there were vacancies. Did you agree with me?
That's according to your explanation.
Yes.
But APC lawyers will disagree.
I'm coming. As at 19th February 2024, I'm not talking about 2025 now.
All right.
You know the 2 judgments, the judgment we are talking about now came in 2025.
That's the APP judgment.
Yes, both APP and APC judgment at the Court of Appeal and PDP judgment at the Court of Appeal came up in 2025. I'm talking about 2024.
All right.
On February 19, 2024, when we published the notice of election, there were subsisting judgments of the Court of Appeal, 2 subsisting judgments of the Court of Appeal, which nullified the election conducted by OSEC in 2022. That means as at the time we gave notice of, I want us to follow the process. That means as at the time we gave notice of the election, there were vacancies because the election purportedly conducted had been nullified, and the so-called elected officials in quotes, people in Osun State, there we know them, they call them yes or no. I think you are getting my point now.
The APC, they did not appeal. Did they appeal that ruling?
Yes, they appealed the 2 judgments. I'm coming. They appealed the 2 judgments of the Federal High Court. You know, there were 2 separate judgments. They appealed the 2 judgments separately. 2 separate judgments in 2 separate suits. They appealed the 2 judgments separately. They prosecuted one. That was the judgment in the case instituted by the PDP. And that was the one in respect of which the Court of Appeal rendered its decision on 10th February 2025, which struck out. Go and look at that decision. The Court of Appeal said the case instituted by the PDP was premature and speculative, and the courts of law has no business with the validity or otherwise of the election.
Barrister, if it was struck out, it means the status quo remains.
Yes, exactly. That means the election was never challenged at all as far as PDP's case is concerned. I think you are getting my point. The election conducted by OSEC in 2020 was never challenged at all. Now we go to the other case, that of the APP, in which the Federal High Court, Pa Emmanuel J, my Lord Ayo Emmanuel J, nullified the election as well and sacked the purported elected officials. That one too, they appealed.
Barrister, were they sacked by that judgment?
Yes.
That's a question. They
were sacked by that judgment.
According to the CTC?
Yes, according to the CTC of that judgment, they were sacked. The same effect that the judgment, the same relief in the judgment of the PDP were the same relief in the judgment of the APP. The court nullified the election and sacked the elected officials. In the APP's judgment, I will make it available today for you. Now they appealed that one too. And that appeal now, they now abandoned. It's unfortunate that I'm speaking from this position because people will think I'm speaking from the position of being a biased person or someone because I was the one who prosecuted the 2 cases. And I'm now at OSEC. I think you are getting my point now. But let us look at it. That is why I have brought about 2 scenarios. They did not pursue the appeal until the Court of Appeal dismissed that appeal. If that appeal had been dismissed
for want of prosecution, as at
the date it was dismissed, no record of appeal again stands. The election that was nullified, that was conducted by OSEC in 2022 stood nullified. I think you are getting my point now.
Absolutely.
Now, you said the judgment of the APP had no effect on you at all. You now went back to the Court of Appeal. Please, that judgment, that's begging the court, and the court gave its decision last Friday. You all had it. Now I saw some people, some lawyers, they now cropped an excerpt from the decision of my Lord Justice Obiora, an excerpt that the court said the applicant wanted to lull the court into confusion and to bringing it into sitting over an appeal or review its judgment in an earlier appeal. Who was the court referring to? Was it not the applicant? Who was the applicant? The FPC. Who was the court referring to that has suffered from a self-inflicted pain? What was the pain? The court said you knew you had a 3-year tenure, and there was a judgment that sacked you from office. You appealed that decision, and you did not pursue that appeal for 2 years. The court was mentioning sack more than 7 times
in that ruling.
That means the sack is the status quo as we have it today. So the election conducted by OSEC in 2025 was legitimate because there were vacancies in the local council, and there was a judgment of the State High Court, which, having reviewed the whole situation, yes, gave us the go-ahead that the process was in order. Go ahead with the election. We did not conduct the election overnight. Please, let's get this right. Some people are thinking maybe we conducted the election overnight. Maybe we gave just a 24-hour notice. No, the notice ran for a whole year. We've been here. Femi is here anchoring a program for OSEC. I never knew you could speak fluent Yoruba. He anchored program for OSEC. The process ran for a whole year. Not that we did this thing abracadabra or we did it overnight. No, it was not an overnight election. So what I'm saying, the whole essence of this thing is that some people somewhere. That is it. Let me tell you, Tino Balawo kò ní dúró kí Tani jaja mọ́ṣáláṣí. The meaning is that if you see a burning fire on the other side of the river, and you just saw the fire here now, at this side of the river, you must know that someone is behind it.
Who is behind it?
After all these things, it's the Attorney General of the Federation, and I don't have any regret saying this. The Attorney General of the Federation issued a biased advice from a point of interest.
That's your
I don't
point.
know. Yes, let me tell you this.
Lateef Fagbemi.
Honestly speaking, Honorable Lateef Fagbemi, SN, is a respected guy, a father to all of us at the bar. But he disappointed us in Osun State by issuing an advice, a legal advice from a point of interest.
That
from
didn't suit
point,
you.
Yes, hello.
That didn't suit you.
That did not go down well with the firm legal position because he only gave advice on the strength of only one case, PDP's case, and I have challenged him several times. What about the other case, Honorable AGF? So I think maybe the AGF is taking a pound of flesh from the people of Osun State. I don't know.
Why would
the offense? Yes,
why is that?
Yes, I don't know the offense that the people of Osun State has committed against the Attorney General of the Federation. But he's the one who has given a legal advice, a wrong one at that. I can challenge him anywhere to have allowed these people to be doing all that they have been doing now. How can some people will be saying, and some people, they have been threatening on the social media now, that you, Baba being the Ewasi Council, Baba, is that democracy? All right. Is that how it's supposed to be? But all of this, let me say one word. All of this now, we will all come back one day and to say that, oh, our light Danny, we will know their light does.
Barrister Hashim, do you know why I said I really wish we had an APC lawyer right here?
No, from your, I'm not PDP lawyer, I'm not APP lawyer, I'm not for any political party. I'm OSEC.
They are the ones opposing this.
If you are bringing an APC lawyer or a PDP lawyer or whatever, don't bring me into it. I think
that's what I mean. I'm
speaking for OSEC.
Yes,
I am for the Osun State Investment. And you know it is OSEC baby that is being traumatized now.
Yes, what I mean.
And you know what I mean by OSEC baby. It is the product of OSEC that are now being traumatized.
That's the election results.
I think you are getting my point now.
Absolutely.
And I must defend it to the lasting end.
Here's what I mean. From what you've explained, given chronological order of the legal case, I mean, it's looked very simple, even to a non-legal practitioner.
I have simplified it, and that is
chronological order of events, how they happened, how the APC failed to prosecute the appeal they filed for 2 years. They failed to prosecute, which means by not prosecuting, the court now struck it out, dismissed it, which means the previous one stands.
And they now went back to have it. They now went back. You go further. They now went back. The judgment that they said did not affect them. They now went back. Court, you dismissed our appeal. Please, we are ready to prosecute that appeal now. The court now said you are suffering from a self-inflicted pain.
So it looked quite simple, very simple. So
that
I really wonder why there's been so much
Let me tell you, some people have been mischievous. And that mischief, and they have enlisted some people from all over the world, some propagandists, to be saying all of this. And imagine someone who went to court and who failed in the court to be telling us that despite his failure, he will not leave the council secretariat. Imagine that.
All right,
but I wanted to land. Yes, I wanted to land on my question. Barrister Hashim, you are OSEC chairman. Constitutionally, you are supposed to be completely, totally apolitical in this case. Are you apolitical?
I am very, very much apolitical. OSEC, let me tell you, the case that was decided on Friday, PDP was not a party to that case. OSEC was at the center of the case. You will see when the certified copy of the judgment came out.
Yeah.
The court of appeal relied on the material supplied by OSEC. In fact, in condemning the conduct of the APC and their lawyer in that case, it's because I'm mentioning APC because you are thinking maybe this person is talking, because it is these people that are fighting OSEC. They are not fighting OSEC again alone. They are fighting Hashim Abiy. I think you are getting my point now. You see a lot of damning comments and all that against me by these people.
This released issues and all of those things, the dismissal, was OSEC part of this?
Yes, OSEC. In fact, OSEC was the one that filed the application to dismiss for the dismissal of that appeal.
Okay.
And that appeal was dismissed. It was not PDP, it was OSEC. So when the relisting application came, OSEC was at the center.
And that's why you are doing this.
Exactly. OSEC was at the center. OSEC, go and look at it. It was on the basis of the material supplied by OSEC that the Court of Appeal found that these people had been communicating with their lawyer, and they came to court. Yes, they came to court to lie that they had no communication with their lawyer. But it was on the basis of the material supplied by OSEC that they have regular communication with their lawyer, and the court refused that application and dismissed the appeal.
We've seen some APC lawyers or handlers or supporters or people interpret this June 13 ruling by Lord Justice Obiora, the appeal court, that it has no bearing on the situation at the council. They are the ones in charge. You too, you are saying now that this particular one has no bearing on what is on ground, because the election, there was vacancy at the councils and you properly did your elections, and you have produced the winners, and those winners are supposed to be the occupiers of the council.
In fact, they are. Legitimately, they are.
Now that we are here, and there is this conundrum here, you are saying OSEC has done it. You have done what you are supposed to do.
We have done our job.
Now, there was, I saw a particular video, and release, where you are calling for the IGP at the import of this June 13 election, that the IGP should apologize.
Not only the IGP, the Attorney General of the Federation, both of them should apologize to the people. They knew what they did on
as far as that import of this June 13 Court of Appeal ruling was concerned.
Yes, because
how does it affect?
Yes, it did, because by that pronouncement of the Court of Appeal, it has further validated our stance and our stand that there were vacancies.
Before you had the
before we gave notice of election, throughout the period of election, till the period of the election, and both of them now came 48 hours, 24 hours to the election, and they did what they did, and that is why we are having the situation in Osun State. Let me tell you, those who are saying that the judgment of the Court of Appeal did not have any bearing, the judgment of 13 June did not have any bearing, did not affect them, that they were family at the council or whatever. Let me tell you this. There is contempt proceeding ongoing now before the Federal High Court. Let them go to the Federal High Court. This is my shot. Let them go to the Federal High Court, before the Federal High Court, and tell the Federal High Court they are facing contempt charge with respect to the judgment of the Federal High Court, which the Court of Appeal has affirmed now by the dismissal of that appeal filed by the APC. Let them go to the Federal High Court and tell the Federal High Court, court, we are not interested in this contempt case. This contempt case is useless. Let them serve that as a defense.
Just before you leave, some APC apologists and legal practitioners are still even arguing that Friday's ruling has nothing.
That's why I've said that there is contempt proceeding now before the Federal High Court. The Federal High Court sat on that case, and they went to the Federal High Court. They said the contempt proceeding instituted against them was in respect of a decision that they are now contesting at the Court of Appeal, that they should allow them to come back from the Court of Appeal. Now, the Court of Appeal has dismissed that. So let them go back to the Federal High Court and tell the Federal High Court. The Federal High Court, Despite the fact that the court dismissed our application, this contempt proceeding cannot go.
All right.
It is useless.
All right.
Let them tell the Federal High Court that.
Barrister Hashim Abioye, he's a lawyer and, of course, the chairman of the Osun State Independent Electoral Commission, the body statutorily backed up by the law to conduct local government elections into various councils and, of course, councillors. In 10 seconds, are you disappointed that the work you did, you have not seen the result?
I've seen the results. My products are legitimate. They have been sworn in.
They have been sworn in. But
the governor, I'm coming. The governor only said that stay away from the council because of.
Does that bother you?
The only thing I'm bothered about is about the withholding of the local government.
All right, we'll have time for that.
That is my bother.
We will have time.
I think you are getting my point.
All right.
That is the only thing, and it is not good enough at all. It is not good at all. That is wickedness.
Barrister Hashim Abioye, please, I'd like to hold you to your promise. You promised to upload the results on your website.
Yes, very soon. Very
say your election was free and fair.
Very
results should be uploaded.
Thank you very much.
Again, Barrister Hashim Abioye, OCF chairman, Osun State. Thank you for your time. And we would like to have you periodically.
It's a hot session. It's a hot session.
You won't be missing.
Thank you very much.
Missing in action again.
Thank you very much. I've not been missing in action. I've always been in action. My pleasure, Femi. And my brother, this is the first time I'm meeting you.
Emeka Daniel.
Okay, you came from and be bombarding us here. But we are friends anyway.
I came from Abuja.
All right, it's all right. We'll take this quick break now. When we return, Benue is boiling. Everybody should be concerned. Stay with us.